Good morning, everyone. Okay, so this is the second part of the lesson. Um, the last 2 days we learned about naming triangles based on the sides. Today we're going to learn how to name them based on the angles. Okay. Each triangle has two names, one based on the sides and one based on the angles. Today we'll focus on angles. Now, quick little review for all of us. So when an angle looks just like this, what do we call it? That's right, a right angle, right? When it looks less than, anything less than this, anything less than 90 degrees, so this is 90 degrees, anything less than 90 degrees, what do we call it? That's right, acute. And then anything that is more than 90 degrees but less than 180, kind of looks like this, okay? More than 90 degrees, but less than 180. What do we call an angle that's more than 90 degrees, but less than 180? We call it obtuse, right? And we learned that before spring break. So a right angle, an acute angle, and an obtuse angle. Okay, we're going to need this information to name the triangles. Okay, so this is how it works. So we're going to take this angle right here. Okay. Now, what you do is you look at all three angles, all of them, not just one, all of them. So, what kind of angle is this one? That's an acute. I'm going to put a little A for acute. What kind of angle is this one? Also acute. Put a little A for acute. What kind of angle is this one? That's right, it's also acute. So we have three acute angles in this triangle. So if they're all acute, then we're going to call it an acute triangle. So if they're all acute, you call them an acute triangle. All three are acute angles. So I'm going to write that down. All three angles in the triangle are acute. What does that mean? Less than 90 degrees. So all three angles are less than 90 degrees. So therefore we call it an acute triangle because all three angles in the triangle are acute. If all the three are less than 90, then we call it an acute triangle. All three of them. All right. Now let's look at another triangle. Now we're not worried about the sides today. We're just worried about the angles. That's going to be tough in it. Okay. That, and then I'm going to make it a triangle like that. Okay. So look at this angle right here. Is that less than 90, 90, or more than 90? That looks like less than 90, right? So put a little A for acute. What about the one on top over here? What kind of angle is that? That's also acute, right? It's less than 90. So you're just looking at that angle right there. You're not looking at the triangle. You're just looking at that angle. That angle's acute. That angle's acute. Now, if I look at this angle right here, that angle right there. Oops. What kind of angle is that? Is that less than 90, all right, or more than 90? That definitely looks like more than 90 degrees, right? It's more than this. It's opened up more. So angles are based on how much is it open, right? So this one's open a lot. It's more than 90, so we're going to call it obtuse angle, right? So I have two acute and one obtuse. What do we call it? Well, what we call it is literally, we're going to call it an obtuse triangle. But wait, Miss Lamelli, there's two acute. Why wouldn't it be called acute? Well, in order to be an acute triangle, all three angles need to be acute, all three of them. When it comes to an obtuse angle, all you need is one angle is an obtuse angle. What is obtuse? More than 90 degrees. So because I have one angle that's more than 90 degrees, the whole thing is called obtuse. It's like this one has like more power. So this one has more power, so therefore the whole thing is called obtuse. Even though you have two acutes, they're weak. They're overpowered by the obtuse, the strong one. Okay, so this one has more power, so the whole thing is called obtuse. This one's called a review acute because all three of them are acute. This is called obtuse because just one of them. You just need one. Okay? All right. Next up. What do you think this one's going to be called? Well, let's look at the angles. You have three angles, right? This one, what kind of angle is that? And that's acute. This one on top, what kind of angle is that? Again, you just focus on that angle, kind of backwards, upside down. But what kind of angle is that? That's an acute. And then that's an A. So both of these are A's because they're both acute. They're super small. Now this angle right here, what kind of angle is that? Well, this is a perfect right angle, right? So you have an acute, and a right. So what do we call this whole triangle? Well, this whole triangle is called a right triangle. Why? Because a right triangle, hold on, let me just make sure I write it the same. Right triangle has one right angle. And what's a right angle? It measures exactly 90 degrees. So it has one right angle, and then two acute angles. So kind of similar to the obtuse, it just needs one. And if it has one right angle, the whole thing is called a right triangle, okay? Just needs one. In order to be an acute, all three of them have to be acute, okay? If we were in class, I would ask you like, well, excuse me, can you have two obtuse angles in a triangle? So if I start off with an obtuse angle here, can I go off of this and draw another obtuse angle? Am I going to end up with a triangle? No, I'm not. Right? If I have one 90-degree angle, can I draw another 90-degree angle and make it into a triangle? Can I have two 90-degree angles in a triangle? No, right? You end up with a shape that has more than three sides. So therefore, that's why you can only have one 90 degrees to call it a right triangle. You don't need two because you can't do it. And that's why we only have one obtuse angle, because you can't have two obtuse angles because it doesn't end up being a triangle. So therefore, that's why the rule is only one obtuse and one right angle needed to call the whole thing. Okay, so for example, this one. What do you call it? Well, what does this angle look like? Well, it looks like an acute. What does this angle look like? That's also acute. And this one? Acute. So therefore, this is called an acute triangle. What do you call this one? Well, this one's acute. This one's acute. What about that one? That one's obtuse. So therefore, the whole thing is called an obtuse triangle. And then, they're in the same order as before. I could even put the 90 degrees somewhere else, right? They could even be on top. All of these have this 90 degree, 90 degree, 90 degree. So all of these have 90 degree angles. So all of these are called right triangle. That's a G. That's an I. Sorry. Kind of on the edge. It's a right. That's R-I. Right triangle. Okay. So we're going to practice some. Just keep looking at your notes. Equilateral triangle. All three have to have less than 90 degrees. A right, you only need one. Obtuse, you only need one. So take your time, look at all three angles to see what it's called. This is not going to be your worksheet because this one you already did, but like you look at each individual angle. Okay, you look at each individual angle. So this one's acute. This one's also acute. This is not your worksheet. So this one right here though, right there. If I were to use a piece of paper, put it right there. Do you see how this angle kind of comes out? So therefore it's more than 90 degrees. So this would be 90 degrees if it would be on the sticky note. But since it comes out, it's more than 90 degrees. So this one would be called an obtuse angle. Okay. It's going to be a little bit hard because you don't have protractors, but try your best. Okay. If you have any questions, let me know. Keep up doing the good work, keeping track of everything that you do and don't do. Remind your people, if you're texting your friends, like, hey, remind me, like, hey, make sure you're doing Lamelli's homework. She's checking, she's writing it down. Keeping track of everything, okay? If you guys have any questions, let me know. See you guys. I'll post, not this worksheet, the worksheet I'm going to ask you to do later.